So I learned that life often comes at you in funny ways, and the metaphors and similes that we look for in life are usually right in front of us, so we ignore them. I'm no different. I'm no better than you. So, for example, I had a Chinese pug. Anyone know what a Chinese pug looks like? Yes, I had a Chinese pug. So this is that. I apologize for taking so long to write this, for thinking there were so many things more important to talk about than you. See, you were a Chinese pug and you were chubby. So when my mom told me I could name you, I named you Pudgy, which was not particularly original, but I was like this big, so you got to cut me some slack. You had this smooth black fur, and I used to try to like pull it the wrong way really, really fast, because I thought if I could get to the bottom of it, I could see the answers to the world, like you were your own little barking universe, or my little magic 8-ball to shake up. You were so small when I got you that you could literally fit in the palm of my hand. My mom says that I didn't pick you. She says we picked each other out that day. If you've ever seen a Chinese pug, you know that they have a face that only a mother could love or a friend could truly appreciate. But since I was an only child, growing up in the hood in Dayton, Ohio, I used to tell people we looked alike and that you were my brother. And to prove this point, I would hold you up next to me and I would say, see, look, we both have big bulging eyes. And we both have labored breathing due to pushed in noses and a little bit of weight if we did anything more than like 2 steps at a time. You refuse to learn any tricks. I used to say sit, you'd stand. I'd say roll over, you'd sit. I'd grab a stick and I'd throw it and say, fetch, boy. And you look at me, and you look at the stick, and you look back at me, and you look back at the stick, and then you'd walk with me when I went to go get the stupid stick. And they say dogs can't speak, but I swear, y'all, one day I heard him saying, what did we learn from this little exercise today, Edward? However, when I came home crying from being teased by the bullies because of my weight or the skin tone, and even the color of my skin for that matter, you would sit on our front porch and you lick the tears off of my face. So you knew one trick. You had this smooth black fur, and right in the middle of your chest, you had this white Indian arrowhead crest. And you always sat in the little projects we lived in Dayton, Ohio, on this porch with like your shoulders back and his chest up high, like he was proud of his dark fur and his Indian markings. And guys, it took me like 30 plus years to realize that this was not a metaphor, but it was actually my life. Hi, everyone. My name is Ed Mabry. I'm the son of Phyllis and Edward. I'm the grandchild of Cleety and Mertline, Carlton and Irene. Translation of that would be, I'm the child of Cameroon Africans, Seminole and Cherokee Indians on both sides of my family. And the best friend I ever had in life walked on 4 legs, and he wasn't a man, but he was so much more. And I know there are very important things we need to talk about these days in 2020, but some things have got to remain simple in this life, like the love of a boy and his dog. See, his black fur taught me about my black power. His bark became my bite. His refusing to learn tricks taught me to never bow down to authority unless you trust your leadership in the direction in which they're taking you. His smushed in face taught me to only love someone who can appreciate and see your inner beauty and not always judge you for who you are or appear to be on the outside. His running around our yard every day for 16 years, acting like he'd never seen that same stupid yard every day for 16 years, taught me that you're only as confined as your imagination. Him going in the backyard and doing number 1 on a pile of snow. Well, it was just him doing number 1 in the pile of snow. Though it did keep me away from lemon-flavored ices for years. That was not the point, but there was a point to it, and the point was no matter who's around you, you should always be yourself. See, guys, I learned that the backyard wasn't always some magical never land. Some days it was me cutting grass and him barking at the lawnmower. The garage and me sweeping it out wasn't just this magical bat cave. Sometimes it was just me sweeping out cobwebs and him trying to eat the spiders. See, some days in life you're going to learn that you have to fight really, really hard to remember who you are, where you are, and what you've got. And it took me a while, y'all, but I finally remembered that I had a friend once. He wouldn't fetch to save his life, but he was never too tired to play with me. He ate the vegetables I slid underneath the dining room table, and he never once snitched me out to my mom. He was the better part of my life for over 18 years, and he literally died in my arms. He's the reason I feel that every puppy that's walking around is a living, breathing church in and unto themselves. So I know there are important things to talk about today, and we'll do some today and some tonight. But some things in life have got to remain simple, like the love of a boy and his dog. And I say all that to say, all you cat people in the room, you'll never hear a poem like that about cats. Like, that's not how you end a poem? Yes, it is, because cats suck. Poem about cat would be, here's your poem about cats. I had a cat. I tried to touch it. It swiped at me. The end. But I say all that to say that oftentimes in life, we have a bad habit of sizing things up and assuming incorrectly, right? Let's try it this way. And I already know the numbers because I know what stats have told us, but I'm very curious to see how many people are honest today. How many people in here have ever been made to feel less than worthy? A lot of very worthy people. Or, ironically and scary enough, a lot of people lying in church. We're not going to get into that part, though. With that being said, what I've come to talk to you about this morning for the morning portion is your worthiness. Is claiming your rightful place on your rightful throne. Is understanding that everything that you've ever needed, you've already been instilled with. My challenge to you today is to live your life as if the answer is always yes, as long as you're asking a question that is bigger than serving yourself. I learned the hard way that asking things that take care of you will usually only get you things that take care of you. And in the end, that only gets you but so far. However, asking for things that take care of your community, that take care of your race and others, that take care of your gender and others, that take care of your congregation and others, your school and others, will normally provide you blessings beyond possible imagination. So imagine, if you will, at this moment right now, there's a sticky note right here on you, not me. And imagine right now it has your name on it. I was raised in Ohio where you actually have to speak to someone, you introduce yourself. You ask for names and interchange them. So, hi, my name is Ed, and you are? Scott. Nice to meet you, Scott. Magically, at this moment, our chest cavities crack open. Our hearts come out. That sticky note with my name and his name attached switches places. Goes back in the chest, closes back, no pain. Problem with that is, now I'd actually like to talk to somebody else. And you are? JP. I'm Ed. And again, we exchange. And then maybe you in the green. Carolyn, and I'm Ed. And on and on. And by the time we even leave this space, our heart has traveled through 100 people. By the end of the week, at 6,000. By the end of the following week, it's 6 million. And we suddenly find ourselves with a really big problem, guys. I don't know who holds my heart anymore. Which means I don't know which potential death will actually bring about my own. Which forces me to love and appreciate everyone I meet. Because I'm not for certain, if I don't help you with CPR on the street, if I don't see you being bullied or harassed by someone who doesn't care for your gender or your ethnicity or just the way you dressed or walked that day, if I see someone that's homeless on the street and don't give them a little bit of change, hoping it affects change in their life, I could possibly be actually getting one step closer to ending mine. And wouldn't that be a crazy but beautiful thing? To not know who holds on to your heart, translation, not know who holds on to the love that you actually need and were born with. So now, everyone you meet, you have to meet like they're actually holding on to your love. And isn't that what we already do? We hold on to each other's love. We have the audacity to be so arrogant, but also so scared that the love we received was only meant for us when it was meant to be given out and shared freely. See, I understand that I have a maker that has an endless supply of it. So therefore, I'm always willing to give all the love I have, because the fun part is the giving and then in turn being filled back up again. Because who knows, maybe I can keep my heartbeat inside of your heart chest cavity beating a little bit longer. We all could live more prosperous lives if we cared about the actual salvation of someone sitting next to us. How often do we sit next to someone else and not give one iota about what might happen to them in spaces such as this, where we come together in the name of the Almighty, then walk outside and instantly turn our nose up, forgetting the same blessings we just asked to receive might be in the hands of the person next to you, I promise you, without even knowing anyone in this room, that everything you actually need for the rest of your school year can be provided by someone in this space right now. But bigotry, or fear, or hatred, or ignorance, or things that have been trained and taught into you by well-meaning and well-planning but ill-mannered others would stop you from asking for the very blessing that someone was put on this planet to give you. So my challenge to you, no matter what else you walk away this morning with, is making sure that you walk away with the ability to say, hi, my name is, and yours is, and then assume that you two are connected. When I tour, I call this HELP, the Heart Exchange Love Program. So what it means is anyone that's in this room for the rest of the year is totally allowed to walk up to you, say their name, and say, hey, we both at that event that Ed was at, I can use some help right now. And without question, and without pause, and without reason, and without worry about your own safety, you will give it. Whether it's just $1 or a handshake, whether it's a consensual hug or just a moment to pray, whether it's help with homework or finals, dog sitting, never cat sitting, and they're on their own for that one. But whatever the case may be, that you'll be willing to share that moment and give of yourself, fully understanding that the giving of yourself is what defines who you actually are. It is always in the giving of love, but never in the receiving, that we find our truest essence. Isn't it, after all, the actual motto of the school? When it speaks of truth and beauty, these are not superficial things of who's the cutest, because God knows if they're looking for that, they wouldn't book me to come here. They're much better looking people with more six-pack abs that can be carved out with scriptures on them than I. But I, at the very least, know simple things like, when I was a kid, I was teased about my weight. When I got older, I realized it was a metaphor because it keeps me grounded and anchored in life. When life storms come and blow other people by, I'm able to stand still, weighted, rooted in the foundations of my belief and in the faith of believing in something. And isn't that what we all should do? If these aren't just simple wooden pews, if this isn't just a space with great acoustics, if we all aren't just here in the name of a new semester or credit, then isn't it something we should be believing in? So my challenge to you today is to believe in you. So the days and nights when you find things hard, when you think of having something crazy in your head like self-harm, I remind you that you are not allowed to hurt yourself or others until you find a proper replacement. And the last time I checked, you were the only you I know. Therefore, you must be necessary because you're here now. And if I don't find another you, then I need you to keep being you, because otherwise, if you're not you, I can't be me, and we can't be we without you, right? See, it's all just math. So you keep being you, so we can be we. And you be you, and you be you. And quit trying to be whoever else you thought you needed to be. You're exactly what we needed on this planet at this exact moment. If it were any other way, you wouldn't be here. So remember when you feel that itch on the back of your shoulder blades at night and you can't quite find a way to scratch it, that is simply your God reminding you where your wings used to be. And today, if you don't do anything else, I want you to remember how to fly. Please, for the sake of all of us, remember how to fly. Now, if that's all right, then say all right. We can do better than that. If that's all right, then say all right. Beautiful. My name is Ed Mabry. I will leave you this one piece before I walk away from here. Because your motto is truth, beauty, and goodness, I wanted to share a snippet of this as it pertains. Let us march on poverty until no American parent has to skip a meal so that their children may eat. March on poverty until no starved man walks the streets of our cities and towns in search of jobs that do not exist. Let us march on poverty until wrinkled stomachs in Mississippi are filled and the idle industries of Appalachia are realized and revitalized and broken lives in sweltering ghettos are mended and remoted. Let us march on ballot boxes until race baiters disappear from the political arena. Let us march on ballot boxes until the salient misdeeds of bloodthirsty mobs will be transformed into the calculated good deeds of orderly citizens. Let us march. There's nothing wrong with marching in this sense. The Bible tells us that the mighty men of Joshua merely walked about the walled city of Jericho and the barriers to freedom came tumbling down. I like that old Negro spiritual, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. In its simple yet colorful depiction of that great moment in biblical history, it tells us Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Up to the walls of Jericho they marched, spear in hand. Go blow them ram horns, Joshua cried, 'cause the battle is in my hand. These words I have given you just as they were given by us to the unknown, long dead, dark-skinned originator. Some now long gone black bard bequeathed to posterity these words in ungrammatical form, yet with emphatic pertinence for all of us today. The battle is in our hands, and we can answer with creative nonviolence the call to higher ground to which the new directions of our struggle summons us. The road ahead is not altogether a smooth one. There are no broad highways that lead us easily and inevitably to quick solutions, but we must keep going. In the glow of the lamplight on my desk a few nights ago, I gazed upon the wondrous sign of our times, full of hope and promise of the future, and I smiled to see in the newspaper photographs of many a decade ago the faces so bright, so solemn of our valiant heroes, the people of Montgomery. And to this list may be added the names of all those who have fought and died in the nonviolent army of our day: Medgar Evers, 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi, William Moore, the Reverend James Reeb, Jimmy Lee Jackson, and 4 little girls in the Church of God in Birmingham on a Sunday morning. But in spite of this, we must go on and be sure that they did not die in vain. The pattern of their feet as they walk through Jim Crow barriers in the great stride toward freedom is the thunder of the marching men of Joshua, and the world rocks beneath their tread. So the mission and the message we leave with on this day is that how long will it take for peace and prosperity to come? And the answer is not long, because no lie can live forever. I challenge you today to make sure that you walk this entire day simply doing nothing more than telling the truth all day, and learn that freedom is in your truth, just as MLK understood that freedom is in your trying. Thank you.